So again, one of the biggest mindset shifts that I've really made since starting my business is that the purpose of networking isn't to leave with a client. It's to leave with a relationship. Welcome back to the Quiet Leaders Podcast. Today we're talking about something that I know makes a lot of integrators uncomfortable, and that is networking. Now, before you click away and convince yourself that you're just not good at networking, I want you to know that networking is not a personality trait, and it's not something that extroverts magically are born knowing how to do. Instead, it's a skill. And like every other skill that you've developed as an integrator, whether that's project management, strategic thinking, communication, or leadership, it gets stronger the more you practice it. And that's exactly why I decided to dedicate this month's free training to networking. I often hear the same questions over and over. I know I should network, but where do I go? What do I even say? How do I follow up without feeling awkward? How do I actually turn conversations into clients? Now, if you ever thought any of those things, then this episode is for you. Now, I'm not going to give everything away because we're going to cover this live inside the training, but I do want to shift the way that you think about networking. And once this clicks for you, it's going to change everything. The first thing I want you to remember is that networking is a muscle. No one walks into their very first networking event feeling completely confident. No one has the perfect introduction. No one always knows exactly what to say. The people who seem effortless, they've simply done this more. Or they've done it before. They've done it a lot, right? They've had enough conversations to realize they don't need to be perfect. And they've stopped trying to perform. And they simply have started to connect. Just like leadership, just like communication, just like strategic thinking, networking gets easier through repetition. Every event teaches you something. Every conversation helps you refine your approach. And every time you follow up, it helps you build that confidence. Now, here's a place where I think a lot of people get networking wrong because they walk into an event thinking, I need to find clients. I need to pitch my services. I need to hand out business cards. I need someone to hire me. Now, this creates this immense pressure going into an event. That pressure is what makes networking feel so uncomfortable. Because what you've done is you've turned every conversation into this sales opportunity that, again, adds that pressure, that makes us feel so uncomfortable and out of our comfort zone. So what we want to do instead is we want to walk in with curiosity. Seriously, that is all you need to do, is get curious. So instead of wondering, how do I get them to hire me? We're going to start asking, who are they? What kind of business do they run? What are they passionate about? What challenges are they experiencing? How can I support them? These are completely different conversations. So you go from forcing a sales conversation to just simply getting curious and getting to know someone. And people can feel that difference. One feels really transactional and one feels genuine. And genuine relationships are what creates the long-term opportunities. So again, one of the biggest mindset shifts that I've really made since starting my business is that the purpose of networking isn't to leave with a client. It's to leave with a relationship. So think about that. If you walk into every networking event expecting to sign a client, you're probably going to leave disappointed. But if your goal is simply to meet interesting people, learn about their business, understand what they do, find ways to support them, you'll almost always leave successful. And these relationships will compound. The conversation you have today could become a referral 6 months from now, or a client next year, or they could introduce you to someone who becomes your dream client. You just never know. That's why I don't measure networking by immediate sales. Instead, I measure it by relationships built. Now, I do want to talk about conferences for a minute, because a lot of people attend conferences thinking the value comes from the sessions. And yes, the education is so valuable because you're going to leave inspired, you're going to gain new ideas, you're going to build momentum, and all of that matters. But sometimes the biggest opportunities happen outside the sessions. It happens at breakfast, between presentations, waiting in line for coffee, or waiting back at the hotel. And those conversations really matter. So instead of trying to meet everyone, just meet a few people really well. Get curious, ask questions, listen. And if someone feels aligned, exchange contact information. Then the important part, don't immediately pitch them afterwards. Give everyone a little breathing room. Especially with conferences, most people leave mentally exhausted. It's a lot. So a few days later, even a week later, you can send a simple message. So you can send something like, hey, it was so great meeting you at the conference. I really enjoyed hearing about your business, especially what you shared about XYZ. I would love to stay connected and learn more about what you do. And then if you wanted to invite them on a call or a coffee chat, then you can do that too. So that's it. There's no sales pitch, no pressure, just relationship building. Now, here's another little strategy that I love that I'm going to share with you. And it's that I want you to look at who the speakers are. Because think about it. If someone is speaking on stage, they probably own an established business. They're leading a team, they're growing, they're visible. In other words, they're often the exact kind of business owners who eventually need operational support. Now, most conferences will even give you like a speaker guide or an agenda beforehand. So pay attention. Make note of who you'd love to connect with. And even if you don't meet them at the event, you can follow them afterwards, engage with their content, build familiarity over time. And then not because you're trying to sell something tomorrow, but you're building that relationship that creates opportunities. And it also makes it really easy to reach out by saying like, hey, I was at X conference. I saw you speak. I love that you said this. It really resonated. Like it makes it easy to build that connection. Now, maybe conferences aren't your thing, and that's okay. There are also incredible opportunities right in your local community. There are BNI chapters, chamber events, women's business groups, local entrepreneur meetups. And the exciting part about these local groups is that most people there have likely never heard of an integrator. Seriously, they have no idea this role exists. They don't know somebody can partner with them strategically, which means part of your job is education. It's not convincing, we're educating. Helping them understand what's possible, helping them recognize problems they didn't even know could be solved. Because what usually happens is that they don't need you until they do. And when that moment comes, who are they going to remember? The person who gave them a sales pitch or the person who genuinely invested getting to know them? Now, I'm sure you know the answer to that. Now, another realization that I've had in my business is that my favorite clients, the ones I'm most excited to work with, the ones where the partnership feels easy, almost always came through relationships. Not cold pitching, not convincing, not crazy sales tactics, relationships. When you already know someone and they know you, they trust you, they understand how you think, they aren't then hiring a stranger. Instead, they're inviting a trusted partner into their business. And that is a completely different experience. So it doesn't feel like a sales transaction at all. It feels like a partnership coming together. So if networking has felt intimidating, I hope today's episode gave you a little bit of a new perspective and that you don't need a perfect elevator pitch. You don't need to memorize scripts. You don't need to become someone you're not, some crazy extrovert. That's okay too if you are. You simply need to get curious. Ask good questions, build relationships, and trust that those relationships often lead to opportunities you never could have predicted. So if this conversation resonated with you, then I think you're going to love this month's free training. So this month's free training is networking that actually leads to clients and how to build genuine relationships that turn into long-term clients. So we're going to go far beyond the mindset that we talked about today, and I'll be walking you through exactly how to network with intention, how to confidently start conversations, what to do before, during, and after networking events, how to follow up without feeling salesy, how to identify valuable referral partners, and then the simple habits that consistently turn new connections into long-term clients. So if you've ever wondered, okay, I understand networking matters, but what do I actually do? That's exactly what we're covering in this training. Now you can register using the link in the show notes. I would absolutely love to see you there. And until next time, keep leading quietly, keep building intentionally, and remember, the strongest businesses aren't built on these perfect pitches or sales systems. They're built on meaningful relationships.